All right, so we're back again. Episode 70.
Nice.
70, bro. It's been a while.
Yeah,
That is freaking crazy.
that's a whopper. What's
Yeah,
geriatric age like?
we're
Yeah,
getting all kinds of discounts when we go eat now.
yeah, that's right.
Uh, but yeah, when I was typing in my notes here and whatnot, and I put episode 70, and I was like, crap, man. In 30 more episodes, we're gonna be at 100. We gotta we
Mm.
gotta come up with something good for that
We
one.
need a bash, like a big party.
Yeah, something. Maybe we'll do a live show somewhere or something. But
Ooh,
anyway, instead of talking about us, I wanted to talk about, at least I should reword that. Instead of talking about what we did since the last time we were here, I want to talk about some things that we've done since we've been gone. So my wife, Cody, has been working crazily on the new website.
my
Uh,
wife.
my wife, and it is come out really well. So everybody, please go check it out. And we got to thank her so much for that. So thank you,
Oh yeah,
Cody.
thank you, Cody.
It looks amazing. Everything that was there before is still there. It's just in a different layout. And the reason we did it is to have some easier plugins to put things in a little bit easier and whatnot, and to freshen it up since it has been about 16, 17 months now. And then the other thing that we did is we added what's called Buy Me a Coffee. Um, I, I, I personally really fought with this because I didn't want to ask for charity. Is that the right word? I didn't want to. I didn't want us to ask for money and people
Yeah,
think that uh, of that in a negative way. So I
yeah.
just want to explain that a little bit. We have sponsors, and the sponsors do pay us for the spots that we do for them. That money does cover some things for us, but it doesn't cover everything. And when I say everything, there's a monthly fees that go into all this that we do.
Yeah,
So it's the keep the lights on money
yeah. It is.
is what we call it. So that's what we're after. So when you go onto our website now, you literally on every single page you'll see a little orange circle with a coffee cup in it. If you click on that, it gives you the option to buy us a cup of coffee at $5 increments. You can literally donate 5, 10, 20, whatever you want to.
Mhm.
And you can also do a membership. Now they give you options of all these levels of memberships, but I didn't want to do that. So I chose one level. We're calling it the right on level because I say right on a lot.
I don't.
And when you do that, if you do a membership, you can choose to. I believe it's just a year for $50 or something like that. And you will get some exclusive stuff. I don't want to say anything yet as far as what you'll get from us because it's still in the works. But you will get a little something extra if you do a membership. So now I'll get off that soapbox. And I just wanted to, we were super excited, and we wanted everybody
Yeah,
to understand how that works. We don't make any money, guys. We do
sure.
this every
Yeah.
time because we like doing it. It's not because we're here to make money. If we were making money, this would be a nicer microphone. But anyway, um, so we're gonna just go ahead and jump right into it. We've got another guest. So musician, founder, and CEO of Roxtar and Seven Drums, Ricky Reyes is with us. Everybody, how you doing, man?
Doing fantastic,
Welcome.
gentlemen. I tell you, what an introduction too, and congratulations on 70 episodes.
Thank
That's
you.
quite an accomplishment, and I love the idea about doing
Thank you
Thank
so
a
you.
much.
live for 100.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Live
We're
for
playing.
100. Go
We're
big,
playing around with that.
yeah,
Yeah.
go big, and just selfishly to be part of the 70th. Seven drums. Seven is my
Yeah.
favorite number. Just hey man, what
Ah,
timing, right? So perfect time. You
yeah.
guys planned it
All
all along.
right.
You planned it all along,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Nice.
So,
We have had you on our list for quite some time. You sometimes things fall into your lap when you're doing a podcast where you have to rearrange things. And
sure.
there's been people that we were going to have on a year ago that we just now had on
Yeah.
because of just the way things have fallen. So you just got lucky with the 70.
I'll take it. I'll take it. But congratulations
um,
again, gentlemen. What a great accomplishment.
yeah, thank you so
Thank you.
much. We work hard
And I
and
can't
we
wait
like to
to
have
try your
fun.
coffee.
Yeah, hey man, we'll take all the cup of coffees Ricky wants to buy us. So here we go. The reason we asked Ricky to come on is he is a Temple native, and a lot of stuff that we do is around Temple and Central Texas. I say around Temple all the time, and I really need to say Central Texas because we don't want to keep it just Temple. But he also is knows my sister and Josh's brother because if I'm correct, you were a 1988 graduate of Temple High School.
That's exactly right.
All
All
right,
right.
So
okay.
long
I,
ago. Gee whiz.
hey, we have
we're
our.
we're not counting.
I have my 30th
Yeah.
reunion this year, so Josh will
Oh,
have his 30th next year. So what's that
Yeah.
make you? 36, something like that? 36 years
oof.
from high school?
That's a
Isn't
lot
that
of
crazy?
years. That's a lot of
Yeah.
Mhm.
But so are you originally a Temple native, you and your family?
Well, we moved to Temple and when I was in first grade, so like 7 years old. We grew up in McAllen, Texas, is where
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
then moved here when I was in first grade.
Okay. What elementary school did you guys go
I
to?
went to Thornton. I went to
Thornton?
Thornton,
Okay.
yeah, I went to
Okay.
Thornton for like a year and a half, and then I went to where I met Holly at Scott Elementary School.
Scott.
Yeah, I was there in
Okay.
third grade is when I went to Scott Elementary School. So
Okay. And then what so did you go to Travis Middle School then?
did, yeah, went to Travis Middle School, and then obviously everyone went to Temple High School. That was it.
Yeah. Yeah. The only
But
high school.
I
Yeah.
was a
Yeah.
Fighting Mustang for 3 years over there at Travis Middle School.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. Josh was in Catholic school.
Okay, St. Mary's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
First through eighth.
there you go.
We've said this before. Like I didn't meet Josh until high school, and I didn't know there was a Catholic school in Temple until I met him in high school.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah,
literally had no idea.
yeah.
That's how little my brain was at the time.
Or how
Still
little
is.
the school was.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. Um,
Go Falcons.
so when when I had spoke to my sister about you coming on or whatever, um, I looked at some of your posts and whatnot, and I said, "Oh man, he's doing this, that, and the other." And she kind of jokingly said, "Well, back in the day, he had a little more mischief to him." And I was like, "Oh, really?"
Mm.
so
Yeah.
I was like, "Let's see if we can get him to tell on himself a little bit." Was there anything in high school a story you can tell or something you can think about?
I tell you, I don't know that I was that mischievous. I think it was more. I was probably so scared of my mom that even my friends were scared of my mom that it was hard to do mischievous stuff. I mean, I had a couple of parties at my house, snuck out a few times, but
Mhm.
not
Normal
nothing.
stuff.
Yeah, nothing,
Right.
nothing too crazy. Yeah, I probably now as the drummers were concerned in band, we got in trouble all the time. I mean, we'd skip
Drummers
Yeah.
always get in trouble.
yeah, when we were supposed to be practicing, we'd go down to Shipley's Donuts or go grab something, and or we were pulling pranks on other people in the band, and so the drummers were always doing it. And that's when we had Mr. Pennington. I don't know if you're
Oh yeah.
Pennington, but
He was pretty strict.
oh man, he could not stand us. I mean, he would throw drumsticks at our heads, and it was rough. It was rough, but that's probably about as crazy as we got. Was in band doing crazy stuff on the bus, but
Oh, yeah.
nothing I could go back and go, man, I should have never done
Yeah.
I might have 1 or 2 of those moments, but we'll talk about that later. So so how did you and your brother too, because I know Eddie's a drummer. How did you guys get into drumming?
well, my dad was a drummer.
Oh,
He grew up playing drums. My dad, when I think if I remember the story correctly, in eighth grade, he grew up extremely poor, and he had his mom and his little brother, and he started playing drums in bars to make money in eighth grade.
Oh, wow.
And he
wow.
started playing and playing in Tejano music, and so that he found his calling. He went to the Marines for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, and then got back out of the Marines and started back into drums. And so, like any, I shouldn't say any kid, but I would imagine there's a lot of young boys that want to be like their dad,
Sure.
and it
Yeah.
was so when I would see him practice and play, I started playing when I could walk. I mean, that's all we knew was drums. And I remember one kind of fun story when I was little. This is how poor we were. Is my dad? I remember my dad playing in the garage with his band in McAllen, and I think it was called the Tortilla Factory back then. And
Nice.
so he would have his drum set set up. And so what I would do is I would set up cinder blocks in the form of a drum set.
Mm.
I had two broken little drumsticks, so I would mimic them on cinder blocks,
Nice.
kind of mimic what he was doing. And so me and Eddie, that's all we knew. And growing up, like I said, we didn't have a lot of money, so our drum set was broken down pieces of drums that my dad didn't use. So we fixed them ourselves. We repaired them ourselves. We put tape around the cymbal stands so
Yeah.
they wouldn't fall, and heck, we'd even tape drumsticks because they would break. We couldn't afford more drumsticks. We
Yeah.
just tape up drumsticks. So we kind of made a
Make it work.
yeah, it was Frankenstein to the max. But
Yeah.
Wow,
that's we'd sit in the garage, put our headphones on, and play till the cops came and told us to stop playing.
that's
That was just that's all we knew. That's all we knew was music and drums and music,
right,
go to church and play sports. That was it. That's all we did.
right, right. So did,
Awesome.
so did you guys like? Were y'all in bands before you were in like band, say middle school,
I
or
was
did?
yeah, I played in a band, I think in 7th grade. I don't remember the name of the band. It was full on adults, but they had heard, hey, there's this kid that can play drums. And I
Nice.
played like a couple of gigs with them at church, and again, grown men and a 7th grader, playing on this Frankenstein drum set. But hey, we made it work, and then obviously I was in band, and at Mr. Timmons, I think that was his name,
Yeah,
Mr. Timmons, right?
yeah,
Travis Middle,
yeah,
and
yeah.
he loved me playing the drums, and he'd always give me a drum solo, and I hated it. I was like, I don't want to solo, man. Like, I'll let somebody else do it. But it was fun. It was a good time. And then
So
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, did you play in jazz band too? Because you said solo, so I'm assuming you were on a kit.
Yeah, I played drums, jazz band too in 7th and 8th grade. And I was a huge Neil Peart fan. So even in jazz, all my drum solos sounded like Rush, which they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Nice,
But,
nice.
I tried to mimic Neil Peart, and those are the days, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. So when you went into high school, same thing. You just play. You're in the marching band, but did you play in the jazz band and stuff too?
I did not play in the jazz band because I played baseball. So because I played
Ah,
baseball, I couldn't do both of those. So played in marching band and then did baseball in the off season and then regular season. But still
right on.
loved marching band. But in 9th grade, um, I joined a band, and we thought we were the coolest Christian band. We had the coolest name. We were called Blade.
Blade.
I don't know if you guys
Okay.
know that, but we had concerts, at all the local churches, and we called ourselves the cutting edge in Christian music because it was Blade.
Look at that. I like that.
It was
Nice.
so clever, so
Yeah.
clever. But
Right.
we wrote all of our own songs, and it was a blast, man. It was a blast. But I was a
Good.
freshman; they were seniors. Dan McLaren, you probably know Dan McLaren's sister. I can't remember her name. Laura, maybe
I
McLaren.
mean, that sounds familiar, but I really can't remember.
Anyway, Dan was just a couple of years older than me on the swim team, but it was fun, man. But that was outside of church. That was the only real band I played in.
Okay.
We should
But
see if we can dig up some of those tracks.
And I bet
there's prob
I,
there's a
yeah,
tape somewhere.
I tell you what, if there's someone that has history, it's your sister Holly. Like she
Oh
always
yeah.
yearbooks, and she has the tapes from the senior assembly. She probably has a Blade VCR tape. It wouldn't surprise me.
Right. Yeah.
But when you were in high school and you played in the drum line and whatnot, I know I'm asking this because I know your brother did. Did you help with writing like some of the drum stuff, like as far as the cadence and all that kind of stuff?
We didn't really. Here's the difference between me and my brother. Our drum lines, huge, huge. So I think I was the first sophomore. I know I was the first freshman to play on the snare line in Temple High School, and then I was the first sophomore to be the drum captain.
Oh
But
wow.
I had Chuck Ram, Mike Hernandez, Joel Lightsey, Stephen Brewer. We had these guys, Jerome Drodes. But we were more concerned about mischief and having fun. We didn't care if we. I mean, some couple of the drummers couldn't even play as fast as we all could. So I teach them some short tricks, right? Some shortcuts. So we weren't really a skilled drum line, but we had
Right.
a great time, like
Right.
lots of.
Right.
Then comes my brother, who was a freshman snare drummer, sophomore drum captain. Now he took it to another level. Like they changed up the cadence. They would add things in songs. I mean, he took it. They were serious about it. When I watched them play when he was a freshman, I think he was
Yeah.
already writing and changing up some of the beats and stuff. and he just did phenomenal. So we were more interested in partying. They were more interested in seeing peak and having,
Well,
they were solid.
yeah, I'm gonna tell on your brother a little bit. So I was never friends with Eddie, but I knew who he was. He knew who I was, but we
Yeah.
were just, I guess you could say, acquaintances, if you will.
Okay.
Um, but he was the most serious drummer, man.
Oh man.
Like, as soon as he had the stick in his hand, even if he wasn't in class, he had a stick in his hand. Um, you would see him down. I mean, literally walking down the hall, twirling a stick or whatever. But in class, you could tell he loved it,
Yeah.
and he loved it to the point of where he was yelling at the other guys like, "What the are you? Come on!" You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But
Get with
he
it.
wrote
Yeah.
he wrote the cadence my freshman year, which what year did he graduate?
Yeah.
90
92.
92. Okay, so it was his junior year, and he rewrote the whole thing, and because Chirac let him do it,
Yep.
and I'll never forget. I can I can do that cadence in my head to this day, and it was just so awesome, and then that's when drum lines were starting to get a lot of attention,
Yep.
and when we would go somewhere, everybody stopped to watch Temple's drum line
Yeah.
from the other schools,
Mhm.
and it was all Eddie. It was so I shouldn't say it was all Eddie because obviously everybody was playing, but
Mhm.
he wrote such at the time, it was a very it was a pretty, I don't know if it's a wrong word, of straight laced, or it was like the same sounding everything, and then he transformed it into
Oh,
something more, and it was so much more fun.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. He did. He
And
did. He did such an amazing job with that. I couldn't have been more proud. I remember him telling me, "Hey, come watch our." It was a football game. No, I take it back. It was a marching contest, and I drove in from college to watch you guys perform. And I was just, I had chills the whole time I'm listening to play. I was like, man, my brother did that. It's kind of a proud moment.
right?
I think
He
one
was
tear
amazing.
came down. Yeah, he took it to another level without
A
question.
a and that drum line did get into a lot of trouble. I don't know what it is with drummers, man, but they were always back there jacking with something, man.
Oh, for sure, all the
And I
time.
hate to keep talking about Eddie, but I wanna say one more thing. We were at a competition in Austin, and it was a jazz band competition, and he had a solo, and dude, he blew it. I mean, everybody in that auditorium stood up when he was done. Everybody.
Oh yeah,
But I don't know if you remember this guy. His name was Nathan something or other, and he played the trombone. And this guy was lights out trombone player,
uh-huh.
and he ended up winning best solo for over the whole thing,
Hmm.
and people were almost in tears because Eddie didn't get it.
Oh wow, wow,
And Eddie, I can remember Eddie walking up to Nathan and going, "No, you deserved it. You were freaking awesome." I
yeah.
was like, "Man, what a great guy to do something like
Yeah.
that,"
He,
because Eddie killed it, man. It was
he,
so awesome.
he's extremely humble, and I'll brag on my brother too a little bit. I'll never forget when y'all were seniors. He made it to All State Jazz Band, and he got second chair. And I was like, man, who beat him? Like that must be the best drummer in the world. And they
Right?
did their concert. Their concert was in San Antonio, and I can't remember the name of the hall that it was in. They did their concert. Well, anyway, the first chair drummer, I think he did his solo first with the song, and then Ed did his song with his solo. And to exactly what you're saying, the place went bananas. When like you would have never known he was a second chair.
Right.
That guy is the first chair, and he was a he still is amazing. Still is.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's get off of Eddie, but I
Yeah,
just that's I know him, and so it's exciting to talk about him.
yeah.
So what after high school and everything, what was your next step as far as drumming goes?
Yeah, so I got a scholarship to UTSA, played at
Okay.
UTSA, and played the jazz band there. And that's when my drumming chops started to get a lot better. I started to listen to true jazz music, Vinnie Colaiuta, Dave Weckl, and just the big boys at the time, and really got serious about becoming a better, just a drummer all the way around. I was a good rock drummer, and I knew I was a good rock drummer, but I wanted to be just more versatile. And plus, being in college, I was broke college boy, so I had to play all these jazz gigs. So I better learn how to play jazz,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
if I want, it was my way of making a little extra money on the side too. And didn't play in many bands in college, but really just focused in on being a good jazz drummer for college, and it was great. I had a good time with the UTSA jazz band, and I think we were kind of new at the time because that was still a very young music department at the time. So I was just proud to be part of it, and I grew. Actually, it helped me grow a lot of it. Just kind of watching him play. So he was kind of my motivation and he pushed me harder. I remember, like if you watch me play now, very different than the jazz drummer I was before. That some people say I look like Animal when I play now from rock. Right?
Yeah.
I'm a rock drummer. I was born a rock drummer. That's my core is rock. I want to live it, and I'll never forget. Ed made this one comment. I think I was 21 and I had played a show. And he goes, "Man, you did so good." He goes, "But hit the drums, act like hit them." So he gave me that because I hit them, but it didn't look. I didn't. What he was talking about was my stage presence, and no one had ever
Okay.
told me because I was a good drummer. They didn't say like, "Hey, we need be a good performer too."
Yeah. Yeah.
When he told me that, it just elevated my rock performance. So that was good
Right on.
feedback for me. So
So when you after, like, college and whatnot, did you immediately start doing more stuff in bands, or
yes,
or did the family life come along, or how did,
yeah,
because I know, well, I'm leading you to where you are now, basically.
yeah. So finished college, moved to Austin, got married, moved to Austin, and I said, you know what? I want to be a drummer too. I want to tour the world. I want to be the next drummer for Rush. I mean, that was my dream, and I want to do this. And so moved to Austin, newly married, and back then in the early 90s, 6th Street, 5th and 4th Street were still very like homegrown music
Yeah.
where producers go to find bands, where record labels go to find bands. It was very musician friendly at the time.
Mhm.
And I started kind of like a house band there at Steamboat. I don't think it's there. It hasn't been there in a long time.
Mm.
Steamboat,
You,
Yeah.
man.
you probably remember Steamboat, and we played there
Yeah.
all the time. And I was with a band called Two Below, and guys from work, and I mean we crushed it all the time. But I tell you, man, as a newly married husband making $50 a gig, that's not a recipe for success, man. I'm telling you,
Right,
Yeah.
right.
that's it does not cut it.
Yeah.
So I got into like project management in the corporate America. So more like inbound sales where you manage accounts, right? So I
Gotcha.
would manage like the United States Postal Service account, and so got into corporate America, and lo and behold, it's pretty dang good at it. So it's pretty good from a leadership perspective, management perspective, and I'm not OCD, but I do like things to be a certain way, and I love patterns and routines, and obviously as a drummer, right? So I gotta have things have to be very systematic. I need a calendar. I need to plan. I need to be all these things, right? So it was that's a natural thing for me. So naturally, I was really good in corporate America. So
Right on.
started getting pretty good, and then all of a sudden, I was 26 years old and went back to Temple, and I said, you know what, Temple needs a coffee shop. Temple needs a
Oh.
coffee shop. Never drink coffee. My only experience in food service was I did 5 months of Whataburger when I was 15 years old. The only
Nice.
reason I did that is because my best friend Todd Adams was working there and he got me a job. So, but anyway, so I said, I want to start a coffee shop. So I went home, talked to my wife, and said, okay, well, let's do this. So I went into my boss's office on June 26th, 1996. 1995, excuse me, 1995, June 26th. And I said, I'm giving you my 2 weeks notice. I'm going to go start a coffee shop in Temple, Texas. And her first words were, she goes, you don't even like coffee. I said, I don't. Why
Uh,
are you doing this? I go, because I think it'll work. And she said, well, do you have a place? I said, no. Do you have money? Nope. Do you have a
Wow.
business plan? No, I don't.
ah,
He goes, well, what are you
Wow.
doing? I said, the first step was coming into this office and telling because I know I told her, I said, I know that if I don't do this one step, nothing else will happen.
mhm. Yeah.
I
Right.
have to
Sure.
do this first. So I
Yep.
did that in June 25th, a year later, we opened up Barry's Coffee Company. 1
Oh,
year,
nice.
almost to the day, Barry's Coffee Company down there on downtown Temple, Texas. And one of the things that I wanted to do was continue my passion for music. So we had a big stage there in the coffee shop, and every Friday night we had open mic night, and then every Saturday night we'd bring in like a singer songwriter. We got really connected in with the Kerrville Folk Festival that tour, and or just
Mhm.
local people, jazz musicians. Heck, we even had Dave Weckl visit our coffee shop. So
Nice.
I wanted to make sure that not only was it a good business, good idea for us, but to continue that music and that passion. It's from the moment I was born to today, music is a huge part of my life.
Yeah.
And
Sure, yeah.
I wanted to make sure that the coffee shop, just resonated what we tried to do from a theme perspective, but also carry that music into it.
Right
So,
on. Cool. So how long did that last?
4 years. Yeah, so we
4
had
years?
4 years. Yep. And sold that, and then I moved on to back to corporate America. Went back to the call center. And again, became really good at it. And then got into wireless shortly after. Then I moved around quite a bit for work. Landed
Sure.
at T-Mobile for a while, and then joined a band here in San Antonio. And I moved to San Antonio, man, maybe 14 years ago. I don't even remember the year. It was probably 14 years ago or so. It's Cadence 2020. Yeah, 14 years ago we moved to San Antonio, and I joined a little band called Ledaswan. Ledaswan, and very indie underground. I wouldn't say rock, just very indie. Like there's no way we were gonna make it, but we were good in clubs.
Right.
Good
Just having
songwriter,
fun.
good guitar players, good bass player. But the stars weren't going to align for us. But we had a really good time writing songs, and this band, I don't remember making $50 in 3 years. I'm serious, like total. I'm not talking about per gig. I'm talking about total,
Total.
total for 3 years. I don't think we made $50 at all. And then left that band, and then I joined my first ever cover country band. Like,
What?
right? So I've never done that before. I'm not and this probably is not going to go over well, but I'm not the biggest country music fan. It's not my Texas country, love it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
country
Sure.
music, I'm not the biggest fan. Anyway, my first gig with this guy out of Austin, and he gives me a check, $250. And I said,
Ah.
is this,
Wow.
what is this? He said, that's for tonight. But tonight, man, why haven't I been doing this my whole life?
Right.
But it was a very quick indicator of Texas loves country music.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
It brings out the girls, the guys, the drinks, the dancing. You
Yeah.
play till
Yeah.
10 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. and you make
Yep.
money. So I did
Yep.
the Texas country music or country music scene for a while.
Let the
Up
boot
until about,
scooting begin.
right, man, up until about 5 or 6 years ago, and then it was just I cut the live music scene. It was wearing on me to be up till one
Yeah.
thirty in the morning, and then
Yeah, yeah,
up at
yeah.
6 a.m. to have to be there for church. Speaking of which, from eighth grade till a few weeks ago, still playing at church. That to me
Nice.
has been the best gig I could ever play. Could ever sit down
Wow.
and play at church has been. It's how I started, and there's no question that's how I'm going to finish.
Right on.
Amen.
Cool. So let's move on to your companies. So you've started a couple of different companies.
Yeah.
Um, which one came first, Seven Drum or Rockstar?
Yeah, so it is 2012, and I'll kind of walk you through the inception of that. So when I worked for T-Mobile, By the way, this is really good wine. I don't know if you can see.
I was about to ask, what are you drinking, man?
I don't even know how to say it.
Me neither.
You get it at,
Neo.
it's at Trader Joe's. This is a non-paying plug. I'm not
Hey, we do a lot of those, and
Right, yeah,
I
we
think,
do.
why
Trader
are we
Joe's
doing
is
that?
it's from Italy. My girlfriend and I are going to Italy in April of next year, so
Oh, nice.
we're
Awesome.
trying to drink as much Italian wine as we can, or Italian food, and trying to get accustomed to it. Anyway,
Yeah.
Get ready for it.
yeah, I'm getting ready for it. But so I worked at T-Mobile, and I traveled a lot. Like 80% of the year, I was in a plane all the time, traveling. And in 2010, I came up with this idea to say, you know what can I do to help the music community? I knew my time was limited playing, so what can I do from a grand scale? And I kind of have like an entrepreneur mind since I was a kid. It's why I did the coffee shops, why I do other things. My mind is constantly, it never stops. My girlfriend is finding out very quickly that, like, if you ever slow down, like, relax. You're
Nope.
so intense, right? So I came up with this idea of having a social media connection site. This was when LinkedIn was first starting too. So I said, you know what? I want to be able to provide a platform where musicians can reach out to other musicians that need to form a band or that are looking for, like, man, our bass player can't play tonight. Where could I go find a gig? And you know what made me think of it was on Facebook at the time was somebody posted like, our bass player can't make it tonight. Anybody know any bass players? I was like, man, wouldn't that be cool to have a website where you could just go and type in, I need a bass player
Right.
that plays country, that has his own gear, that lives in San Antonio, that's serious, that whatever, has some videos. Hit search, and all those bass players would, all the matches
Nice.
would show up. So I
Right,
compared
yeah.
it to the way I built it was, it's like LinkedIn meets Match.com, because you build a profile and then and being in a band is almost like dating anyway, or like a marriage.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Right.
that's kind of so. For 2 years, whenever I would fly to Seattle or fly to somewhere else in Texas, my main goal was to sit on my computer and design Roxtar. Was to design, okay, here's the idea, here's the concept, here's what I want to do. And then in 2012, we launched the website. Rockstarmusic.com is what we called it at the time. And that's what it is. It's a social networking site for musicians to connect. And I'll get to how we changed that. So that launched in 2012. And we had tremendous response. Now, the thing that was interesting was the people who designed this for me, the company's called Boss Creative. They did a fantastic job. I'm actually still really good friends with the president from Boss Creative. He's just an awesome dude, awesome guy, and I'm so glad that he's in my life. He's just a great friend. Anyway, they asked me, "Do you want to monetize it? Do you want to charge a membership?" And so I don't know. I mean, obviously, musicians, and I know a lot of musicians, but I know a lot of musicians who aren't rich. I know
Yeah.
it's we do it as a hobby. We do it as a side gig. We do it because we love it. We don't do it
Right.
because we're rich. We do it because we love it. So my heart has always been for the musician, and I said, no way am I going to charge them. Why? Why? They're struggling out here to make money and make ends meet. And this isn't their only gig, and if it is their only gig, they're not making a lot. So
Right.
why on the earth would I charge them? So I felt really guilty. I guess that's the best way to say it. I would have felt guilty to have charged someone for a service that I felt like the world needed. So I didn't charge them. So in 2014, I was going to start putting e-commerce onto Rockstar. Like, let's sell some instruments. And then I wanted to sell drums, obviously, right? I wanted to sell drums. And a good buddy of mine was living with me at the time. So I wanted to look for custom drums. And back then they had Risen Drums was one, SJC. I can't remember the name of this other drum company. But I researched them to say, I'd love to sell your drums on my website. And they were like, great, yes, we'd love to. Buy $100,000 worth of our drums and we'll let you do it. Screw that. Right?
Yeah.
What
Who's
makes
got
you
that
think
money?
I have $100,000 to buy drums,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So the buddy of mine is a carpenter. by trade. So I asked him, we're walking down Lowe's buying something for his company, and I asked him, "How do you think we could build our own drums?" He's like, "Man, that'd be a lot of work. I don't think that we could do it." And so I said, "Oh, okay, well, that sucks." And then as we're walking down, and he goes, "You know what? I bet we can." So that day we went home, and I asked him to think about how would you design a drum set from a carpenter's perspective, not a drummer's perspective, but a carpenter's perspective.
Mhm.
So we took apart one of my old drum sets in the garage. Just took it apart, just everything, took everything, wrap off everything, and then I let him rebuild it with some of my ideas, his ideas, and we rebuilt a drum set the way we would build it, like a carpenter
Nice.
and a drummer. And we
Okay.
stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning. And then that was the birth of Seven Drums, the idea, the concept. And I came up with the name that night. Seven has always been my favorite number. And I said, you know what? Seven Drums, we're a faith based company to begin with. Seven means the number of completion. So the whole thought, the premise was when a drummer comes to us, he comes to us with an idea, a concept, a thought. We bring it to life. Therefore, it completes the circle, right? The thought to completion. So that's the kind of the double meaning of seven: faith based and the completion of your idea, your thought, your concept.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so we launched it. We took our first drum to Matt Tooker, my best friend in the whole world. A snare drum. We built this snare drum from scratch. He still has it, by the way. Actually, he still has the snare drum. So this was in 2014, and in 2014 we launched the company, and we 7drums.rocks is the website. We launched it. We had no idea what we were doing. None. Zero. I just knew I knew how to play drums. I knew drums. Now I'm learning how to build them. And man, did we catch two big fish right off the bat. So
Nice.
Matt's ex-wife knew a gentleman who knew the drummer for Kelly Clarkson, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
friend of a
Mm.
friend of a friend knows the drummer for Kelly Clarkson, but he played
Okay.
for I can't remember the name. He played for Kelly Clarkson, but he also did a side gig with I'll think of his name here in a second. He's a country music star. Everyone knows him. He's from Longview, Texas. I don't know if you guys know Neil McCoy. Neil McCoy.
Oh, yeah, no, okay.
McCoy.
Yeah.
And so we built a drum set for Lester Estelle. And we drove it to Vegas, introduced him the drum set. He played the drum set on stage with Neil McCoy, who was opening up for who's the guy that's married to No Doubt singer? What's her name?
Oh, gosh, man, I should know this.
Gwen
Oh
Stefani.
my
He's married
Gwen
to,
Stefani.
what's his name? He's on
Gosh, you
The
can never
Boys. He's on The Boys.
big tall guy that's always, talking about drinking.
Yeah.
What is his name?
Come
I
on.
cannot remember his name.
Well, anyway, Neil
Uh,
McCoy was opening up for him. And somebody that's listening to this is probably going to put in comments.
yeah, they're yelling at it right now.
Yeah.
Come
J
on,
Josh will
guys.
Josh Josh will Google it.
Yeah, for sure. So
Uh,
anyway, he played the kit there. So we got to take pictures with him and hang out with him for a while. So that was our first big bite. And then shortly after that, my brother made the biggest Seven Drums partnership that we could have ever asked for. And we didn't plan it. It was, I know it was a God thing. And my brother asked me, "Hey, why don't we do Texas country drummers?" I didn't know anything about Texas country, but he loves it.
right.
So he reached out to Les Lawless from Randy Rogers.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Said, "Hey, who's your? We're starting a drum company. Who's your? Are you endorsed by anybody?" He's like, "Nope." He goes, "Well, I know
Oh,
you're playing. I
wow.
know you're playing in Bay City. Would you want to play our drums?" I'm like, "Sure." So it was Bay City. We took him a drum set. He played it that night, and so started the partnership with Les Lawless. And
Wow.
once he posted a
Nice.
picture of him with seven drums, we could not keep up with the orders.
Mm.
It was overwhelming. It was
Wow.
too much for us to handle. But we owe that all to Les and my brother, and that first partnership, that first connection, it blew up for us. So I put Roxtar on the shelf. I was like, this is where I need to be right now. And then shortly after that, our drums were on the Jimmy Kimmel Show. One of our bands, Low Cash,
What?
we had the drummer for Low Cash. He played our drums, and they were on Jimmy Kimmel. So they needed a kit. So me and my son loaded up the drums. We drove to Las Vegas on his spring break. Left at 4 o'clock in the morning. Got there that evening. Delivered the drum set. The next day, our drums were on the Jimmy Kimmel Show. So
Wow.
Wow.
and then
Love
after
it.
that, sorry, one more thing.
Yeah.
This is all in our first year.
That's
And
crazy.
you know where Red Rocks, Colorado is, right?
Yeah, yeah, uh-huh.
Actually, we were just there, and they were having what's called the Red Dirt Festival, and it was Cody Johnson. I can't remember the name, middle guy, and then Randy Rogers. We're all playing. All
Randy
three of
Rogers.
those drummers were using 7 drums kits that.
Nice.
So my brother took a couple of kits. Les already had his kit up there, and they all played 7 drums that night. So that was a huge, huge. I mean, just a proud moment for us to be in our first year and to
I
have
bet.
Kelly Clarkson's drummer, Randy Rogers the drummer, Les Lawless, Les Rostel. Then to have Miles Stone with Cody Johnson. Then Les again at Red Rocks. Then to have Low Cash played on Jimmy Kimmel for a first
Wow.
year, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's big for us.
Yeah.
That's
So we,
crazy.
we kept that on, and we rode that train for many, many, many years. And it's not just till recently that God put it on my heart to bring back Rockstar. But we've brought it back even better. Now this one we are going to monetize because this one takes a little bit of work right now. So back then we only had one profile. You could only build a musician or band profile. That was it. Sorry, 2 profiles. So musician or band. That's it. But now, obviously you guys go. This is what kind of pushed me to that was when COVID happened. I firmly believe this. I firmly believe that COVID impacted musicians more than any other group in the world because you couldn't play out, you couldn't teach,
Right.
you had to rethink about how you're going to make money now as a musician.
It's not the necessary
That's
service,
right. It's
right?
not necessary, right? It's novelty almost, right? So what we did now is we reinvented Rockstar to have multiple profiles, but money making profiles for the musician. So you can be a musician, you can be a band, you can be a teacher, you can be a
Oh,
studio,
nice.
and you can be a venue. So
Mm.
5 different types of profiles one person can be, because there are a lot of musicians that teach also.
Sure.
There are a
Yeah.
lot of
Mhm.
musicians now because of COVID that have studios in their garages or their bedrooms or whatever. Heck,
Right.
we're doing it right now, right? So
Yeah.
there's so many. So we wanted to make sure that we change the platform to suit the needs of a musician who is trying
Mhm.
to monetize their personal or band brand. So we wanted to make sure that we just want to provide a platform. You guys do whatever you want and go make money. Go make it where you can. Go be an influence. Go impact young musicians. Go impact bands. Go record the next, Beyonce or whatever that looks like. So we just wanted to make sure that we had a platform. So I went back to the drawing board, reinvented the whole thing, and then we just re-released that Rockstar
Oh, nice.
about a year ago.
So if I'm a singer and I'm looking for someone to play with, I can go to Rockstar. Was it rockstar.com?
Rockstar
RO.
rocks. Roxtar dot rocks. Rock,
Okay.
dot rocks.
And then you can go there and literally look for those things as a singer and hook up with other musicians in order to,
Or if
play shows.
yeah, or if you're a singer that also, on the side I want to get vocal lessons, you can do that too.
Right
So
on.
yeah, so
That's really cool. Man, I wish we had something
Yeah.
like that when we were kids because we
Right?
were all we were all in bands and played and stuff and did stuff
right.
too. And
Well, and
it was
that's
You know, a
neat.
bass player.
yeah. Well, that's what we're so excited about it because it doesn't exist. Well, I
Uh,
mean, it
just real,
exists through us, but it
real,
exists nowhere else.
yeah, yeah. Real quick, Blake Shelton. It just came to my head.
Blake Shelton.
I
There you go. That's right.
was like, okay, it's gonna come to me in a second.
Blake
Uh,
Shelton.
yeah, that sounds really cool. I mean, yeah, man, if we had something like that back in the day, we might be still playing. You
That's
know what I
right.
mean? It's
That's
like,
right.
you know,
That's right.
but yeah, super cool. But and that's a perfect way of saying it with the LinkedIn and the match. It brings that it's kind of that together in order to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
And man, I wouldn't. I guess no one else is doing that either. I mean, I've never heard of that at all,
No,
ever.
that's the thing that, and this is both two of the things that we do. Even our drums, the way we build our drums, no other drum company in the world builds them like we do. Like we have we're working on a patent to make sure that we can get this thing locked in. And I will tell you that the biggest compliment that we get about our drums is not from drummers; it's from engineers and studio engineers. I can't tell you how many times me, my brother, or Matt, we get calls from engineers or studio engineers who call us and say, I've never heard drums stay in tune the way your drums do. I've never heard drums stay locked in the way you do. As a matter of fact, when we took Les, his drum set, his sound engineer guy, when they did their show down there in Bay City, he said, "Man, I locked in the drums. They locked in so fast, and I never touched the keys again
Nice.
because they were locked in." But it's because of the way we build it. The way we build it is different. No one else does it that way, and that's why we feel like we kind of. I don't want to say we have a. We definitely don't have a monopoly, but we have a monopoly on the sound, like the way
Right.
our drums sound and the way the technique and the way they're built. No one does it like this.
Right
Where
on.
they manufactured at?
With me, I have a little warehouse manufacturing.
In San Antonio?
Yeah, San Antonio.
All right, American
Right on.
made.
Yeah,
So you're
In
because,
Texas, Texas.
so can you just go buy a set, or is it a custom thing, or both?
custom. Yeah, it's custom.
It's all custom.
Now
Okay.
we are going to release 2 snare drums, which will be our first ever to do this. We've never done this before because we've always been made to order, right? So
Mhm.
you order it, we make it. We don't really have things on the shelves, but we're going to release 2 snare drums. And if it's okay with you, I'll describe them really quick. So
Yeah, go ahead.
I
Yeah.
think they're freaking cool. Well, I think the names are cool, as I say. So there's a way back down here. There's a marketing side of me that loves to come out every now and then.
Yeah.
So we're going to build 2 snare drums, and they're going to be acrylic snare drums. And one of them is going to be a clear. It's an 8x14, so it's a big old snare drum, big beast. So clear with all chrome hardware, just massive hardware on it, and we're going to call that one the Ghost because you can see through it, right? So
See through it.
Yeah.
yeah, pretty cool. And then we're going to make one that's like a dark black color, almost like a smoke color, dark gray, and we're with black hardware, just make it look mean as heck. And we're going to call that one the Phantom. So really excited about the product and the name. So those should be coming out within the next 30 to 60 days. And that's going to be the first time that we release a line of drums. I'll take it one more we're going to make. And this is actually a tribute to Les Lawless because of everything that he's done for us.
Yeah.
He's an amazing drummer. If you've ever seen Randy Rogers play, if you haven't, go
I have.
because man, Les is killer, just killer. Anyway, his last name is Lawless, so we want to release a snare drum dedicated to him called the Outlaw. So we thought that would be cool.
Nice. The Outlaw.
The Outlaw, yeah.
Yeah,
All
right
right.
on. That's cool. Yeah, I went to school in College Station, so I had to see quite a few country bands, even though I might not have wanted to. And I did see him play there. So yeah,
He's awesome.
right on.
He's
Yeah.
awesome.
Man, thank you for sharing all that. So since you are a drummer, I got to ask you the questions like this,
You got
but
it.
I think you kind of already answered it. So who's your favorite drummer of all time?
So I'm going to give you 2 answers if that's okay.
I knew you would,
Well,
because every drummer does.
like, yeah,
Every drummer does.
yeah, I'll give you 2 answers. So my favorite drummer, and I met him too. And I don't know how much time we have here, and I'll share my
You're
story.
good. Keep going. We're fine.
Yeah.
We're fine.
So my favorite drummer was Neil Peart.
Okay.
You know, and I have a kind of a cool story about Neil, and I'll share this. So Neil started playing Rush with the headphones in my closet with my Frankenstein drum set in 7th grade, and Signals was my first cassette to get. And so
Nice.
I learned every song, and I played it, to no end. Well, anyway, when he passed away, I literally cried. I cried a little bit.
Yeah.
Sure.
It was, and he's my favorite drummer because I think he influenced me at a very early age, and I never lost that connection with Rush and him. Anyway, So, when people pass away, they change like their Facebook profile picture to uh, that person, or, right? So when
Yeah,
Prince passed
yeah.
away, I changed my profile picture to Prince. Well, anyway, I'm sitting in line to pick up my son from 8th grade, and I'm crying, and he's like, "Dad, why are you crying?" I was like, "Neil Peart died." He goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, Dad." So I said, "You know what? He deserves more than just a picture because he influenced me so much." So I got home and I wrote a post, a long post about Neil impacting my life up until then. And my first concert was Rush. My son's first concert was Rush. So
Mm.
there's some legacy here, right?
Right,
So
right.
I wrote this big long post and tagged all these people that either came to my house and watched me play Neil Peart on my drums, or were at Travis or Temple High School and play some Neil Peart. Like
Yeah.
Right, right.
all these people in my life, and posted it. And I think I was even crying when I was writing the post. Anyway, so posted it, and one of Holly's friends, actually, Shar Ward. I don't know if you remember Shar Ward. Uh,
Don't know that one.
she was, uh, 2 days later, I got a message from her on Facebook Messenger that said that post had touched her. And she was like, "That was a great post. Little do you know, my husband knows some people that are related to Neil Peart." So she
Oh, wow.
shared my post with this people that were part of the family of Neil Peart.
Oh,
So
wow.
their family was because their family wants to tell you, thank you so much. It's awesome that he meant so much to
Oh,
you.
wow.
So that post actually made it to Neil Peart's family, which I thought
Oh, that's
was
awesome.
Oh,
I
nice.
mean, yeah, my legend, my idol growing up, my drum idol growing up,
Yeah. Yeah.
he
Yeah,
actually made it to his family. So I thought that was pretty dang cool. The
yeah, the
power of
magic
social
of
media,
social
right?
media.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
the power
certainly.
of social media. So that's my favorite drummer. My favorite second drummer, which is from a totally different perspective, is my brother, my little brother, Eddie.
Okay,
He's
that's
my
awesome.
he's my favorite drummer. Like just watching him play. I'll tell you a story about Eddie too. So I was playing this little blues band in Austin, making $50 a night, like I told you, right? So I'm playing this little blues band, and Eddie comes to watch me, and I'm nervous as heck. I shouldn't be nervous, my little brother, but I know how good he is. And I'm playing this little blues gig, and I think I'm doing a good job. I'm playing, I'm killing it. And so we take a break, and I said, "Man, Ed, why don't you get up there and play a little bit?" And he got up there and just destroyed it, just
Ripped
destroyed
it
it.
up.
I was like, "There's no way in hell I'm getting back up after that." So he played the rest of the night, and he just did so good. And but even now he plays with a little band in Bay City. And when I went and watched him play a couple of years ago, and he still just blows me away. Like just his feel, his the way he can predict kind of what the music's going to do. Like he's almost he's a different breed. He's a different,
Yeah, yeah.
so
'Cause
he's
he
different.
I've seen him play with the Heebie-Jeebies,
Oh, that was fantastic.
a handful of times, and when you go for me, when I went to see the Heebie-Jeebies play, my focus was on Eddie because he was freaking so good.
Oh yeah,
It was like
oh yeah.
you couldn't take your eyes off the guy.
That's right. Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah, he's exactly that. We have a funny kind of a little thing. My brother and I, when we would play in Austin, and when I played in San Antonio, and even when he plays today, the question I always get asked when I date someone new, and I think even my current girlfriend asked at the beginning, is, "I bet you have all these groupies, right? I bet you I've always had all these groupies." And my brother and I can tell you the exact same goes for me and him. We never had groupies. We just had a bunch of, we just had a bunch of dudes watching us play.
Play drums,
That's
yeah,
right, because
yeah.
it's other
Drummers and bass
that's right,
players.
that's right. We just had other drummers watch us
Right.
play. I'll never forget going to watch my brother play in Austin, and there's like 15 dudes, and I'm one of them. We're all just watching. So it was pretty cool.
Uh,
Yeah. So to answer your question, Neil Peart, is just a legend in my heart. He'll always be, and then my brother will forever and always be my favorite drummer.
Well,
that's awesome.
that's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are rounding it out here. So, tell us. where we can find your drums, where we can go for Rockstar again, and anything else you want to share.
You bet. You bet.
Social media is.
Yeah. First of all, man, thank you guys for having me on. This is
Oh, for sure.
just I'm humbled to even do this. So thank you so much for allowing me to be able to come on and talk about my life, and as boring as it is, and but I appreciate it.
It wasn't
No,
boring, and
it's
Thank you.
okay, before you say that, I wanna say
we're geeking
something.
out. So
I wanna say something real quick. So, anytime someone says that, I had to learn from that myself. I always will kinda second guess things when we do podcasts sometimes, and then I go back and listen to it when I edit it, and I'm going, "Man, this is really good," and I thought it wasn't. So, don't think that way, because if you think that way, it puts a negative vibe on you, and it kills it, and then you go back and listen, and you're like, "Oh,
yeah,
okay, this was
Yeah.
good. This was actually a lot
and there's
better."
and there's always people that come forward and are like, "Man, that podcast was so great."
Yeah,
That you're like, "Wow," there's always some kind of feedback from
yeah,
every podcast.
and the thing about us too, Ricky, is we're randomness for a reason, because we wanna talk to any and everybody, and you know what? There might only be a small niche that really likes this episode, but that's okay, because
I'm
we're
good with
going
that.
yeah, there's a little bit of something for everybody, so
Yeah,
just there I guarantee you I'll get 15, 20 texts when this comes out, and they go, "Dude, that was awesome."
Man,
I'll get
they're
it
all
happens
going to be
every time.
for me.
It happens every time. But yeah, anyway, okay,
Oh,
going
yeah,
back,
yeah.
where
So
where
go
can we
back.
find all your stuff?
Yeah. So for Rockstar, it's roxtar.rocks, right? So that's for
Okay,
Rockstar. And then Seven Drums, we kept the same thing. Seven Drums, just the number seven drums dot rocks. I thought
gotcha.
for me, it kind of it fits the music theme, and it goes
Mhm.
from there.
Right
But
on.
yeah, you can place custom drum orders there, or go connect with musicians and either form a band, become a teach lessons, or promote your
Right on.
studio, whatever.
Cool.
We're so our vision has to do with serving others. And that's it. That's as basic as I can put it. Is whether it's Rockstar or Seven, we want to be servants and be humble leaders within the music community. That's it. That's all we want to do.
Awesome. That's great,
we should
man, that's
sign up as
awesome.
a studio.
Yeah, yeah, right? I didn't think of that, we should.
Yeah,
Uh, well, Ricky, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story and all your stuff, and man, I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a busy man, so
you
we
got
appreciate it,
Yeah,
and,
thank you.
yeah, keep on rocking, dude. Because man, I me and Josh are music guys. I mean, we can't get enough, so
it.
it's always nice to talk to a musician, but
You got it, brother. You got it.
all right, guys, just to round it out, don't forget to go to randomnesspodcast.com to check out the new website. And again, go buy us a cup of coffee. We'd like you to buy a bunch of cup of coffees if you
And keep
would.
the lights on.
Yeah, help us keep the lights on, man. Help us help you, because we're gonna continue to do this. So whenever you get up every Monday morning, and your commute to work, you hear old Josh and Heath talking. But thank you again so much, guys, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank y'all.
We are gone.